Welcome back, it's JWalter here. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a new report from Corelogic. They actually just announced a couple of days ago a new housing market forecast over the next 12 months. So that's the topic of today's video. Hope you guys get a lot of value of today's video. And if you do, of course, please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. This was actually just published on the 3rd of May, just a couple of days ago at the time of this video. And this is for March 2022 housing market data. They also provide a forecast through March 2023. And believe it or not, they are even more bullish regarding the housing market than their previous forecast. And I'm going to be sharing some data regarding that. I'm also going to be sharing the top 5 cities that they predict are going to be seeing a decrease in home prices over the next 12 months. So let's go ahead and dive right in. This is according to Corelogic. They have what's called a Corelogic HPI or their home price index, and that is designed to provide an early indication of home price trends according to Corelogic here. This is published on a monthly basis, and this has data going back over the last 40 years as well. So they've been doing this for a very long time, and I report their updated forecast on a monthly basis to you guys as well. So I hope you guys like these videos. So with that said, home prices increased 20.9% in March 2022 compared to March 2021. And by the way, that was an all-time record high. In addition, on a month-over-month basis from February 2022 to March 2022, their home price index increased by 3.3%. And this is kind of funny because their forecast from 1 month ago, in other words, their forecast from March 2022 to February 2022 that they posted 1 month ago, they were forecasting for home prices to increase by 0.6%. And it goes to show that home prices increased by 3.3%. So they were way off on their month-to-month forecast. But let's talk a little bit more about their current forecast right now. So their forecast right now says that home prices will increase on a month-over-month basis by 1.2%. Again, that's a decrease from their 3.3% increase that we saw from February to March. In any case, they're forecasting for home prices to increase by 1.2% to April 2022. Yet, on a year-over-year basis, they are forecasting home prices to increase by 5.9%, and that's from March 2022 to March 2023. And what I find to be a little bit unusual or hard to figure out whether or not their forecasts are going to be accurate or not, I can't find the previous forecasts on their website. So when they post their latest housing market forecasts on a monthly basis, I can't find their previous forecasts. However, I've been making these videos for you guys for several months here. So I actually wrote some notes here because it's kind of interesting to see how their forecasts has been changing over time here. So their forecast from December 2021 to December 2022, that was published a few months ago. Their forecast was for home prices to increase by 3.5%. Again, that's December to December. In January 2022, from January 2023, they actually increased their forecast to 3.8%. From February 2022 to February 2023, and that was posted 1 month ago, they were forecasting for home prices to increase by 5%. And now, this latest forecast calls for home prices to increase by 5.9% from March 2022 to March 2023. So in other words, Corelogic has been increasing their 12-month housing market forecast for 3 consecutive months. And to be honest with you guys, I'm actually really surprised that they've been increasing their housing market forecast for 3 consecutive months now. And this is because we're starting to see some early signs that housing demand is starting to cool off, or at least it's starting to slow down. And I actually wrote some notes for you guys. So number 1, purchase applications from home buyers looking to get a loan to buy a house. Those have more or less been decreasing ever since the middle of March of this year. And they have decreased 11% compared to 1 year ago. So that's number 1. Number 2, new home sales have been declining as well. So new home sales are actually down 13% compared to 1 year ago. That's March 2021 to March 2022. The latest stats we have from the U.S. Census Bureau. New home sales decreased 13%. In addition to that, the number of new home sales has decreased by 3 consecutive months as well on a seasonally adjusted basis as well. And by the way, of course, a new home sale, as you guys all know if you follow the channel, a new home sale as defined by the U.S. Census Bureau is when a builder accepts an offer from a home buyer. They sign a contract or they receive a deposit for a new home. So a new home sale really acts more like a pending home sale and not a actual sale for existing homes, for example. So a new home sale is really a leading indicator of our housing market because they accept an offer from a home buyer, but the house is not going to be built for 6 to 12 months if they're buying a dirt lot. So that's number one. Well, that's number two, I should say. Number three, we have a decrease in the number of pending home sales according to the National Association of Realtors. And get this, we've had 5 consecutive months of decreases in pending home sales in the US right now, and that's on a seasonally adjusted annual rate. And that's according to the National Association of Realtors. Again, a pending home sale is when a home seller accepts an offer from a home buyer. Those are for existing home sales or pending home sales. So again, a decrease by 5 consecutive months. On top of this, we've seen a decrease in the number of existing home sales. Existing home sales are home sales that are not new homes. They're basically existing home sales in the United States. And this is according to the National Association of Realtors. We've had 2 consecutive months of decreases of existing home sales in the US, and that's also on a seasonally adjusted annual rate as well. On top of this, we're seeing fewer home showings from real estate agents showing houses to their home buyers right now. So according to a Showing Time, which is a company that realtors use in order to schedule home showings, they track the number of home showings by real estate agents across the nation and also across North America as well. And their latest stats show we've had only an 18% increase in the number of home showings this year compared to the first week of this year. Compare that to last year, we've had an increase of 43% in the number of home showings this time last year compared to the first week of 2021. Again, only an 18% gain this year versus a 43% gain this time last year. And last but not least, Redfin is reporting that we're seeing more and more price drops across the United States. And price drops is when a home seller reduces their asking price in order to attract a home buyer. Those have decreased for 8 consecutive weeks. We're still at very low levels. About 3.7% of all the home sellers are reducing their asking prices. However, that has increased greatly this year by 8 consecutive weeks. And by the way, I plan to make a separate video summary of all the stats I'm seeing right now that's showing me that home buying demand is decreasing. So if you want to see that video, then please comment below. I'll plan to make that video in the next couple of days for you guys if you guys want to see that video. Again, a summary of all the signs I'm currently seeing right now. In any case, going back to this report from Corelogic, they're forecasting for home prices to increase by 5.9% from March 2022 to March 2023. Now, I'll definitely keep you posted regarding that, and I'll make a separate video in a month for their latest housing market forecast. So again, home prices have increased about 20.9% compared to March 2021, and they are forecasting for home prices to increase by about 5.9% by March 2023. And this is due in part to rising mortgage rates and higher home prices, which are hampering affordability for some home shoppers. And speaking of mortgage rates, have a look at this. The yield on the 10-year US Treasury note is at 3.04% at the time of this video, which is the 5th of May. This is the highest levels we've seen since at least 2018. Because of this, mortgage rates have increased greatly. Now they're at 5.62% for those with an excellent credit for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. 1 year ago, mortgage rates were at 3.11%, so they have increased by 2.5 percentage points in one single year. In addition, when we look at the beginning of this year, mortgage rates were approximately 3.3% as well. So mortgage rates have actually increased by 2 percentage points in 4 months. So as Corelogic says, buyers who closed on a property in March had a good chance of locking in mortgage rates of around 4% or slightly lower. By late April, though, rates had moved up more than 5%, a jump of about 30% from the same time last year, and a trend that might derail more prospective buyers. And here's what the chief economist at Corelogic had to say. The annual growth in the US index for home prices was the largest we have measured in this 45-year history. Couple this big price increase and the rapid rise in mortgage rates, and buyers' affordability has fallen sharply. In April, 30-year fixed-rate mortgages averaged nearly 2 percentage points higher than 1 year ago. With the growth in home prices, that means the monthly principal and interest payment to buy the median price home was up about 50% in April compared with last April. In regards to home prices across the nation, here's what Corelogic reported. No states posted an annual decline in home prices. In other words, all states reported an increase in home prices from March 2021 to March 2022. The states with the highest increases year over year were Florida, 31.4% increase, Arizona, and then Tennessee at 26.7%. Historically speaking, home prices increase in the range of 3 to 5% and not 31.4%. Absolutely insane, not sustainable. So again, Florida leading the pack at 31.4%. As you can see here, all these states here have gains of over 20% compared to 1 year ago. In contrast, here are the states that have the lowest price appreciation compared to 1 year ago. The lowest was actually DC at 4.6% increase. New York, North Dakota, Alaska, and South Dakota all less than 11% gains compared to 1 year ago. Historically speaking, still very strong, but very small compared to these gains here from the top 5 states in the US. Again, national level at 20.9%. So these bottom 5 states here are far less than the national averages. So let's have a look at the top 10 metros across the United States to see how they fared. So Phoenix actually led the pack at 30.4% increase compared to 1 year ago in home prices. That was followed by Las Vegas at 27.4%, San Diego at 25.8% increase, pretty remarkable. In stark contrast, Washington, D.C. only increased by 9.9%, and Boston only increased by 12.1%. Corelogic also announced the top 5 markets at the biggest risk of home prices decreasing over the next 12 months. So they have what's called the Corelogic Market Risk Indicator. It's a monthly update on the overall health of the housing markets across the country. They are predicting that Lake Havasu, which is in Arizona, is at a very high risk of a decline in home prices over the next 12 months. On top of that, Prescott, Arizona, and Bridgeport, Connecticut all have a very high probability of home prices declining over the next 12 months, according to Corelogic. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you got any value of today's video, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Hope you have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.